what's going on, guys? I hope you're ready to shoot the shit. All right, I got my co-host with me here, Mike Cipriani. Is it Cipriani or Cipriani? I don't know how
Canadian, for Canadians, it's Cipriani, right? Because they don't have the Italian accent or dialect, but it's technically Cipriani.
Okay,
but I would never expect. I'm gonna
try that. I'm gonna try working with that.
You gotta roll with the tongue, bro. With the right. It's usually Spanish and
sounds
Italian
like Spanish. That sounds like Spanish when you roll the tongue.
Spanish
all right,
and Italian,
guys.
they're very similar.
If you are new to bodybuilding or new to Canadian bodybuilding, Mike Wheels is more familiar to you. Mike Wheels is the 2015 heavyweight Canadian champion, which is a very prestigious title here in Canada. Very few are able to hold those titles. What you don't know about Mike, he's been a social service worker for many years, working with disabled children.
Yes,
Mike
sir.
has done 10 amateur shows before going pro. Mike has done 9 pro shows. A lot of those were in your first year, right? Mike came out with a bang.
Yeah, so I turned pro 2015, 2016 I did 3 shows, 2017 I did 3 shows, 2018 I did 3 shows, and I would have continued that going into 2019, but I had shoulder surgery, and then 2020,
we're gonna
get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into those.
Yeah.
I'm gonna introduce my second co-host here, Branden Ballantyne. Is it Ballantyne? I like to say it like Ballantyne, like Valentine.
It's Valentine, but with a B. So Ballantyne.
All right.
Oh, dude, your last name is Ballantyne,
right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yo, good thing he doesn't grow that hair out, right? Okay.
Dude, but I told you, you gotta keep that Gomez Adams shit rocking because then you can.
I know the mustache just left, but it'll make a return.
Yeah, you
I
need it.
don't know if I can pull off a beard like yours, but
it's a panty dropper.
Branden is a CPA level athlete, nationally qualified, level 3 good life trainer, top 5 in the GTA. Ooh. And that is guaranteed because he's just got his call back to work. And not many people did. We're in the middle of quarantine. One thing that you don't know about Branden is he's a graduate from Police Foundations. See, I hesitated on that because he's the white up, you know what I mean? But Branden's my dog, you know what I mean? And he's one of the good guys. Branden's done 1 show, which he killed in 2 classes and qualified himself for nationals. And I'm lucky enough to call Branden one of my clients. So I've been working with Branden the last couple of years, and it's been great. He's been progressing. And he's growing as well, but we'll get into all of that.
And he's still not legal drinking age yet. He's gonna get there.
And just to introduce myself quickly, is your boy Jay Elite. You already know what it is. If you follow me on IG, just hit up Chat Too Much Tuesday. That's pretty much all you can find out about me. All right, so we're gonna get into it. I hope you guys are ready to shoot the shit. And we really just want to bring you this podcast to make you feel included. We're especially going to touch and include a lot on the amateur divisions. I've already been getting a lot of messages from you guys, amateur guys, and we are going to be that podcast that exposes and brings exposure to the amateur class as well.
I think the great thing about us is because we're each at different points in our career that we represent. Branden with the CPA, OPA. Jay is at the point where he just turned pro and he's about to do his first pro show. And me, I'm the injured guy who's, 19 shows deep, but I'll be back at it. I'm going to be back at it, of course. And,
No, but you're a legend, though, because I remember when I started bodybuilding, like in 2012. Yeah, like around 2012 on Facebook, I remember like watching like all the CBBF shows.
Yeah,
I really wanted to compete at CBBF Nationals, but by the time I got qualified, they split up.
Yeah,
it was like mom and dad got divorced.
The crazy thing about the CBBF is now it's only a precursor in order to kind of level up for the IFBB Pro Elite.
Yeah.
So now, of course, everyone watching, if you're part of the CPA, you already know, or you've turned pro through Canada, there's multiple avenues to get your pro card. Which is great. It's a new opportunity. But back in the day, and I sound like an old bag saying this, but from 2016, I believe, and prior, you needed to come either first or second in the overalls in the Canadas, which is once a year, to turn pro. And the unique thing about this is you knew who you were facing, you know, before the show. So guys are training year round for this one fucking show. It's kind of almost like the Olympia for amateurs in Canada.
That's a lot different than it is now.
It's way different because I mean
it's
now
it's a lot harder back then than it is now, for sure. I would think, right?
Yeah,
it is.
I wouldn't even say like okay.
It's different.
There's always like controversy here, especially with the older guys. Especially if you were trying to get your pro card in the open, it definitely is. I don't want to say easier, but there's more opportunities.
Yeah, especially with the new classes. Especially with the new classes.
But there's still like 30 guys in these classes, right? Like
but
maybe
you know
before it was a lot harder. There was a lot better quality athletes.
Right.
But there was probably like 10 or 12 guys in the class, right?
Well, because there's multiple opportunities, not everyone is prepping for that one show because they have more than one show to do. So if that date doesn't work for you, you can do another one. Before, it's like, this is the Canada's. If it's not the date for you, then wait till next year.
Yeah.
And, you know, one thing that I do think it might be tougher now is a lot of the shows, other than the Canadas, which they still have in October usually, it's open to people worldwide. Yeah. So for like Toronto Pro or Vancouver Pro, you know, they're giving the pro cards out at those shows. A lot of people are coming from Europe or the States or, you know, South Africa,
like
wherever.
Last year, Wayne Fit took the Toronto pro card. Brandon's actually prepping for nationals right now.
Yeah,
Canada's.
Canada's. Yeah.
Do they have the date for that yet? I know they
it's November. It's mid-November. I think November 15th or November 25th.
Yeah.
So I'm like 28 weeks out of that show.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know if you guys have seen the schedule, but everything's like back to back. It's like literally the whole
every weekend.
Like a week apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a different kind of situation because like even at the amateur level, everybody's gonna be competing at that show. So it's gonna be like
I know.
It's gonna be like the old days.
Yeah, that's right. It's gonna bring it back.
The shows are gonna be mad. The shows are gonna be mad.
It's gonna be the exact same situation. Man, like I'm talking with like a lot of these guys on Instagram and stuff like that. That like are good friends with me and like guys who like I look at as competition. But it's like everybody's doing that show, so it's like you're gonna be prepping with all your buddies.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun for guys like you that are like camaraderie and stuff like that. But guys that can't handle competition, it's gonna be rough for them because they're gonna show up and they're gonna go through the classes quick. If you're not in shape, you're not in the call out, and they're moving on to the next because there's like 30 guys in every class.
I think, one thing that is different now, though, opposed to when I got my pro card, is now they kind of adopted the whole NPC thing where you have the first 45 seconds to show off your physique by yourself in the individual round. That's kind of cool. Yeah. But I feel like because that kills so much time, it takes away from, allowing to compare everybody with more detail because how much fucking time do you have? You know what I mean? Before, there was no individual round, so when guys come out, there's a lot of comparing.
Yeah.
And it's more detailed. And again, you're comparing to each other. You're not just being like, this guy looks good. Okay, this guy doesn't have this guy doesn't have that. It's like, what don't they have standing next to each other? So it's different, man. I mean, times have changed, and it'll be cool to see. I mean, the thing I do like about it is when you turn pro, that's what everyone's doing. You have your individual routine, whether it's 45 seconds or a minute or, depending on the promoter. Some
it's like
promoters
practice.
Don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's practice. It gets you ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like it. I think for sure, like, well, I know Wheels for Life and stuff. We could definitely have a couple judges on. I know Paul Liaison, he would come on as well. So that'd be cool to get a couple CPA judges on here and get that talk going.
Give their feedback.
Yeah, how you guys doing though? We just kind of jumped right into the deep end of shit, right?
Well,
you guys doing, Branden?
That's how convos with us are, man, and that's why I feel the idea of Jay wanting to get the wheels rolling with us three is a good dynamic, and it's different. You know what I mean?
Different.
But it's still so natural. Like, this is a conversation. It's not scripted. I don't have anything written down like, oh, we need to cover these certain things. Maybe when we have a guest, we might because we want.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll be like professional. Yeah,
but for us, we could get information across with just being ourselves because
these are conversations that we would have with each other anyway. It's just there's a camera here, right?
Yeah.
That's really all that it is.
But I think it's great.
Hopefully, people can get some kind of people can get some kind of entertainment and knowledge from what we're doing here because like you said, we're all different levels in our career. I'm the grade 9 hanging out with the grade 12s, you know?
Yeah.
I'm the kid sitting at the front of the bus, you know?
No,
Yeah.
but yo, when I was
I'm
coming
always
up,
doing the victory lap.
yeah. But when I was coming up and I was working with John De La Rosa, like he was like really one of my first pro coaches who was like actively competing in the pro ranks. That was the same thing he kind of put into my brain. He was like, amateurs and pros are doing the exact same thing. They're all eating their meals the same. They're all training the same. They're all going from show to show the same. When you get your pro card, the only difference is just a pro stage. Like if you win, you might get money. But that's it. It's depending on what class you're in, right?
I agree with the concept. The concept is right. Like,
well, yeah,
you do the same shit.
Just in order for like the building blocks for amateurs to how do they get their pro card? Because that's always one of the questions. How do I get my pro card? You get your pro card by being a pro bodybuilder. Just do that was what Regan told me. He was like, you have to be a pro before you get your pro card. You don't get your pro card because you become a pro.
That makes a lot of sense.
Give you your pro card because you've been a pro all year and now it's showing.
That makes a lot of sense. No, I agree.
For sure. I think that, you know, what John said is right in the concept, but the things that, you know, amateurs might not understand because they're not on a pro stage yet is the intent, the training, the focus. When I say intent, I mean, okay, you're trying to get your upper chest bigger. You're not just throwing weight around. You're isolating. Even if it means lifting lighter than everybody in the gym, you're in there and you're focused. You know what the goal is and you know what you have to execute in order to reach your, you know, desired look. So
you got a set goal, yeah.
I'm learning that now.
Man.
That's what I'm learning now.
The funniest
we
thing
had this conversation actually, like literally like yesterday about chest training. Like he's telling me I need to hold
in
back
my basement where we work out.
Yeah, he's telling me. He's telling me that I need to hold back on my leg training and push my back training a little bit harder. And you know, I think that, you know, having even someone there, like, just to reinforce that, it makes a difference.
Well, when it comes down to it, bodybuilding genetics do play such a big role. So, I mean, Branden, I know for me and you and Jay as well, the quads naturally develop. So you don't have to necessarily hit them as often as a weak body part. Like for me, chest and arms go flat so quick. My legs, I cannot train for 3 weeks and they're still full.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to prioritize, you know. And
yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
The way you're training, the volume. Quad man gets paid.
I don't have the shirt on, man. Yeah. I don't have the shirt on.
Yeah, but yeah, you're totally right.
In regards to the volume, the intent, and then it boils into what you're eating in the kitchen. Everyone knows the majority of this sport is done alone at home in the kitchen, and that's what separates a lot of the men from the boys. First call out to second call out, and
it's like good days and bad days too, right? But you have to just have more good days. Like right now, like my appetite is fucked, right? But that's just I know why it's fucked though. So like I was expecting it to get fucked, but I was just waiting for it to actually happen. Because like as it was slowly happening, I don't know how much we want to say on here, how much about the shit that we're shooting.
This is raw, people need to know. Just
so like I started a little bit of Anadrol, right? Just to like kind of like push the off season a little bit. And you know, like with any orals that your appetite's
kill your appetite.
Yeah. But the thing is you just got to try to kind of like push through it. So like even like it'll get worse and pyramid up over time of how hard the appetite like will get hit. So for me, when I first start to feel it, that's when a lot of people will just stop. But that happens like a week in, 2 weeks in, you know, you're not really seeing any benefits from the compound in such a short period of time. So you have to push through those meals. So I'll do like an extra shake meal, or I'll just force feed the meal. I'll eat like all my protein and half of the rice, and then like I'll chill for a bit and like take a minute or whatever you got to do to get your meal going. And then do you find
that the higher amount of Anadrol you take, the worse your appetite is, or do you think it doesn't change?
For sure.
Yeah. The higher you go,
absolutely.
For sure. But
I feel like for me, it's always been a sweet point,
because it's
also
never
times a day.
But you get used to it, like because like if I start at like 50 megs, right? Like first few workouts, like I feel boss, like everything's like proper, you know.
Yeah.
But after like a week or two in, even when your appetite starts to fading, you know, you don't feel it as much, you know, it's just not, I don't know if it's not as saturating or.
I find there's certain ways to work around the appetite thing. And over the years, I mean, I feel like for me, once you hit either 100 milligrams or 150, it doesn't matter.
150, jeez. Yeah.
Obviously,
my liver just started hurting, guys.
but there's certain things. It comes at a certain dose that you can't work around. Because sometimes with the less dose, I do things like a little bit of morning cardio to get the appetite going, or like a quarter pill of T3, and that's like a secret that I've done. And when I'm on compounds, like again, and things year to year change. But that's little things that will help you work around that one obstacle so you can still get the gains and capitalize off of that certain substance and not, you know, fall victim to the food.
Because if you start losing the food, then everything's like worthless, right? Everything's like doesn't make any sense.
It's not worth taking shit if you can't eat
food. Yeah. Right. See, I used to rely on GHRP6, the peptide, a lot. Yeah. And that was like, it was crazy because like
it works
in a little bit. Yeah, you would just get like ravageous hunger. Yeah. But, it was just too much. Like just pinning.
It almost counteracts the Anadrol,
like,
right?
Yeah. It's just it's a lot. And like I at the time I was banging a lot of insulin too because who was I with at the time?
Milos?
It would have had to have been Milos. I knew that was the first thing that was going to come out of Mike's mouth. Yeah. I knew that was the first thing that was going to come out of Mike's mouth.
I haven't worked with Milos, but that was the craziest workout I've ever done in my life. Me, you, and Johnny Sharif.
When it comes to Milos, the training's solid. The nutrition is scientific and it makes sense. And even the gear protocols is like I got on board with. I was, you know, I understood and I adapted and I learned to like it. But the one thing I strongly disagree, and this is through personal experience. First of all, you can't give everybody the same shit. You can't give everyone the same protocol.
Yeah. No.
And the insulin, I'll never forget. And I'm not bashing Milos. I respect the guy. But I'm saying from a client point of view, I feel like he did fail in customizing the right dosage for myself.
Of course.
I was riding into Toronto Pro 2018. I was 3 days out, and I'll never forget, I was flat as a pancake. I could have eaten fucking rice cakes and loaded up because when the sponge is dry, you don't need assistance to fill it up. You just put water, it's going to soak up. And that's how I react. And he said, well, this is a perfect opportunity to capitalize on you being flat. So let's throw in 180 IUs. He had me doing, it was 60 IUs a day for 3 days. It was 180 total.
Yeah,
for the
that
loading.
Makes sense.
Sorry,
yeah,
so
that
it
makes
was
sense.
20, 20,
still,
20.
Yeah, that
which
makes
is still
sense.
a lot.
Because I've done 20. I've done 20 with meal. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was doing so. I mean, you just don't like. I feel like at that point, man, your body's so vulnerable. You don't need that. Like maybe small amounts, and
especially in the state that you're in too, right?
Yes, exactly. So, and again, it's a very dangerous drug. And on that note, I want to tell everybody we're not recommending you do this.
Yeah,
we're not suggesting.
We're not doctors.
Our personal experience. We're not doctors. We're sharing with you our personal experiences.
And what Mike is saying,
what not to do. Don't fucking do that.
Well, what Mike is saying is like everybody's body's different too, right? Yes. I know I couldn't do 150 minute Anadrol. Like if I did, like my liver hurts just hearing that. Like
the customization for everybody with diet or drug protocol or training or cardio. I mean, it's got to be customized for each person. You can't have the same shit.
I've only ever done 50.
There you go.
I've only ever done 50.
It's always best to like start low and then just taper up. That's why, right?
Yeah.
And again, something I've learned through the years through trial and error is doing more is not the answer.
No, I agree.
It's not the answer. And I know because obviously that plays with your mind. Like, okay, if I do a little more of this, a little more of that, I could be a little sharper, a little drier, a little harder.
Yo, I find that's why I need a coach. Well, not need. I hate that word need because I do. Like when I started working with Jose, it was because we were gonna prep for Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
we were starting prep and because I managed my own off season, and then when the shows got canceled, I was like, it didn't feel right to just be like, oh, let's put everything on hold. I was like, all right, let's just roll with it and see how things go. And that's what I always find benefit is like someone to tell me, nah, you don't need to do more. Or, no, this is good.
It's true. It's true.
Because I always, well, you know,
you get in your own.
Even
You get in your own head.
when I was in Dominican and I'm like dying trying to prep to win my pro card, I'm texting Mike. I'm like, yo, is this too much? I don't know. I don't know, right? Because you don't want to be. If it's up to you by yourself, you're gonna go overboard. Always,
you don't even. I don't even necessarily think you need a coach, but I think you need somebody in your corner to be like, hey, how do I look? Or hey, is this too much? Or am I doing this? You know what I mean? Like having like a friend or even someone close to you.
No, but the thing is, your friend is not going to have the accountability of your win.
He's not going to say, dude, you're holding water, because I tried that and it doesn't work.
Right.
No, man, that was because of the friend it was. That was because of the particular friend it was.
Yeah.
No, but he was a dick for that. Because honestly, if he was just a little bit drier, he could have placed at least one or two placings out.
And for me, if someone asks for my critique, I usually always start with a positive.
Yeah.
So I'm not just a negative asshole. I'll say this is great. However, I suggest, based on experience, you should try this to improve your overall physique.
Yo, fam, he wasn't even talking to me that day. I remember like bumping in the hallway and I was like, yo, good luck and all this and that. This guy wouldn't even look at me, bro. And like this, and we're doing like, we've been boys like for years. Like, since when Tristan Lee was no one. Like, remember that was when we all linked up. Like, I had known you a bit too, but I never really knew Johnny before that. And when Tristan did the guest posing at King Kong, it was you and Tristan and Johnny, right?
Yeah.
Or was it you guest posing that year? Or
No, I was there.
You were just there.
And
Johnny was.
I go to all of Chris's shows. I forgot it was Chris's show. I go to all of Chris's shows because I'm a good friend of Chris, and I try to help out, whether it's handing out awards or helping backstage or security, whatever he wants.
What was that, like 2016? 17. Anyway,
I believe.
So we were all boys since then.
Yeah.
And just me and Johnny would just always just butt heads.
I love Johnny.
I love him. I love him to death. I love him to death.
I tell everybody the same thing about Johnny. Good heart. He's a good dude. But I mean, being open. Maybe I've done things that have upset him over time.
Yeah, but fuck it. That's what friends are for, bro.
Of course.
That's what friends are for. That's like mate privileges. That's what they call it, right? Oh, yo, shit. That reminds me. Fuck. Mate privileges. You know where that's from? No. So like that was a phrase that James used on the podcast, and that was something that I wanted to do. That. Yeah, no, I wanted to do that just out of respect. If you guys don't mind, can we do that right now? Actually, before we get too far in.
Sure.
So what I want to do, everyone, if you're listening to this into the past, present, or future, we unfortunately just had the untimely passing of Luke Sandow, and he was a great Well, I don't want to say mentor, but he was a great mentor to everybody in the sport, all fans of bodybuilding, and we were definitely fans of him. So we just want to take a second and just give a moment of silence for Luke.
I actually had the honor of competing with Luke. I think he just turned pro at the time. It was Van Pro 2017. Yeah. And we were backstage, and I remember there was like not a lot of hype about him because he was newer to the scene, but there was some hype about him, how he like kind of resembled Dorian Yates with the front lat and the twisted quad, and how he does like the same angle with his face.
He definitely played off it. He definitely played it.
But dude, like he like the UK hardcore heavy lifting, big, played. Full, But anyways, at the time, like he was so great, he was big, and I just remember seeing this guy backstage, and I was like, "This guy."
I've always looked up to Luke's physique. I've always looked up to Luke's physique. That's one of the reasons why I started like getting serious into it. Is watching like Luke's videos and stuff like that, on YouTube and everything. So.
I know you mean he's dense, like he's got like dense. That dense, like De La Rosa dense.
That's right.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
That's what I was just gonna say. Just like solid.
Over the years, though, you could see how the muscle got harder and the conditioning was better and better and better. And I think it peaked for whatever year Arnold was, I think it was last year, 2019, when he
Yeah.
got third, was just like awesome. Like awesome.
Would you say that was
really
a gift? Was that a gift to Dexter?
Dexter got first.
Yeah,
So you got
I think it was. No, okay, you know, I might be thinking about Tampa because they did Tampa after, right?
Dexter won
did
Tampa.
Dexter won Tampa, but I think he won the Arnold too.
Obviously he won several.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head if it was Bonac.
If it was that one or that one, yeah. Because Branden won.
No, dude, it was Branden.
Branden won the Arnold. Yeah, Branden won the
because he won the Olympia the same year.
And, yeah, because
So
he was the first
both.
one to win both since like Ronnie, right?
Yeah, he took both.
No, Jay.
Yeah, Jay took both too.
Since Jay. So, anyways, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us could resonate and relate to Luke because not only the lifestyle, but I mean, Jay, you have kids. I don't have kids, so I can't relate on that level. But the personality, and he was a real dude. Like, you know, and again, I haven't talked to him, which is unfortunate. I would have loved to have a convo with him, but based on everything I see with his podcast, with Fuad, and, you know, I didn't really watch much of it kind of until recently. I know, you know, Jay, you talk about it a lot. So I checked it out and I found myself laughing at so much of it because a lot of it's not even really bodybuilding. It's just kind of like shooting the shit.
Yeah, shooting the shit.
That's
exactly it, right?
I know.
Yeah.
What's so interesting to me is like you watch the podcast with him and Fuad and, you know, you listen to him speak and everything, and he never seemed like he was down. He never seemed like he was upset. He seemed like he was such a positive person. You know, he entertained everyone, made everyone laugh. And then you figure out, like, I had no idea, you know, what he was suffering from. I don't know if you guys did, but
no.
It's just like, man, like you hear that and then I read it on my phone and it almost doesn't feel real because he was a part of like my everyday. Like I would wake up, I would eat my breakfast and I would watch their podcast. And, you know, I learned a lot from my own training and I got a lot of entertainment out of it. And it's really sad that it kind of happened at the same time when we started ours. But, you know, like Jay said that, you know, if, you know, Luke was still here, he probably wouldn't want us to not do it.
Yeah, not probably, for sure he wouldn't.
You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
So
I started watching them because like I commute before the quarantine, I used to commute in traffic a lot. So I would listen to them on the way back and on the way to work. Them and RX Muscle. I would listen to Heavy Muscle Radio, but then I found myself slowly start listening to their podcast more than Heavy Muscle Radio. And then I just stopped listening to
because Heavy Muscle Radio is just bodybuilding. I feel like it's a little more dry. It's more like stats on shows and you know, opinion on people. You know,
so less comedic.
Dude, okay. So
like when they did the giant duck versus the mini grizzly bears, like, dog, I was dying in my car. I literally remember pulling off the highway, like, yo, I need to get off this bitch before I fucking crash.
When Luke started talking about anal beads and anal sex, he had my attention immediately.
Oh man,
I'm like, this is
like,
a cool dude.
It's almost like bodybuilding is a secondary thing for that podcast.
Yeah, it was for him,
comedy,
man. He was
right?
like, this is my job. It's just work, right?
Like, and like we were talking about this earlier, like bodybuilding isn't like in the grand scheme of things going to make you the most amount of money. It's having that kind of presence and
the connection,
you know, having that kind of connection with the fans. Like fans loved him, and I think that's one of the big reasons why he was. I'm not going to say as successful as he was, but you know, he had a career outside of actually just going up on stage. Well, if you look,
that's the biggest reason why there's a GoFundMe and they reached the goal.
The goal, yeah.
Did it reach the goal?
It reached the goal,
amazing.
Man.
Good.
You know what I mean? And I just posted
Good.
about it today because a lot of people will live their whole lives and won't leave their kids 100,000, much less leave them like a couple 100,000.
But you know, that's funny. You know, it's interesting because that goes to show how little contributions from so many people could add up.
Exactly. Right?
Make the biggest difference.
If you think about his followers, if every person gave $1, that's $250,000.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's amazing, right? Because like if we were the NBA or the NHL, Luke would have been like not LeBron James, but he would have been like, well, Phil Heath would be LeBron James. Right?
He'd be Scottie Pippen, man.
Yeah, he would be up there. He would be up there.
Exactly.
He would be one of the top guys, you know? So the fact that the bodybuilding community can take care and embrace his family like that, I think that's amazing, man.
And I think in a way it brings all of us together, which is great.
Absolutely.
You know, because at the end of the day, we're like one big family.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's obviously everyone's got their beefs or whatever, but at the end of the day, we're all the same.
Yo, I'm not beefing with Sergio no more. I don't know why everybody agreed that. Yeah, we're cool now.
I don't know much. I don't know much about Sergio, but I mean, the guy's got a good physique. That's
I'll be back. 1 sec.
But
we got to get into these questions.
It's past Branden's bedtime, so
yeah. No, he's got to change.
So in regards to Sergio, I think he's amongst for sure one of the greater competitors, as of modern bodybuilding.
Yo, I was always a fan.
Yeah, he's got a great physique, and I'm just really looking forward. I'm kind of interested to see how things are going to be once the IFBB picks up the shows and they're allowed to start, hosting events again. If the prize money is going to be the same because there's not as many people allowed in the venue, so it's less money for the promoters, and I wonder if kind of that might change things a little bit. Or
I think he's good for bodybuilding because of the way he poses. I think like his physique. I think they're coming back to the look of his physique. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Where Cedric had the same look, but his conditioning
not
wasn't
his condition.
there.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
his
right.
conditioning
For
wasn't there. He definitely has like that same kind of aesthetic look that they're looking at with like Quentin and Patrick Moore and those guys.
Yeah.
And,
small waist.
Yeah, and he has the classic physique posing. You know what I mean? I'm gonna call it that because we're gonna own that in the division. Because when you guys see my posing routine, it's gonna be amazing, man. I got.
How's that coming along, by the way? With
don't even start with me, all right? With this
you
guy.
You wanna touch on some topics here, or are we gonna,
me and Terrence have some things to work out, but I'm gonna give him some time. He said he's working on it. Then he's gonna work on it. I think. I hope so. So like I was working with Terrence since like November last year doing posing and stuff. And we were always working on the mandatories and stuff like that. And then like he's got like 2 levels of. I don't want to get into this right now. Are we really doing this right now? We should get into the questions.
Yeah, let's
because we could talk like it could go long.
I think we should get in. Let's start the questions.
Okay.
Good idea.
Did you guys look at it? Here, let me try to share.
So how did you guys want to do this? Did you guys all want to answer one question, or do you want to answer each question like we all?
Well, whoever, if it's I guess a.
Some of them are directed. Some of them are directed. Shit. Can you see that?
I can't see anybody, but
it's a little far. But if you want to read out.
No,
the question,
I'll read them out. But you can see it.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I can see it. Yeah. That's like, but I can't actually. Like,
yeah, no.
I can't see it.
But it's on the screen.
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Okay, now I can.
That's perfect.
All right.
Just start from the top, make your way down.
Yeah, there's like 157 questions. I don't know if we're getting through all.
Just start, and we'll see where we end up.
Okay. All right.
We'll do what we can.
All right. Shout out to everybody showing love on here. I see a lot of love comments. Appreciate that. Oh boy. And yeah, so we'll always post the questions here up on Mike's page. All right. Okay, we got one from Mr. Foxhound. In your opinion, what's the key to becoming an incredible bodybuilder? I asked Jay this when I met him, and he said food. Always being consistent with meals, never skipping meals, eating as much as you need to grow. Dexter said knowing when to back off, like not to hit the weights hard every day, sometimes using machines to preserve joints. I want to hear what you guys think. So let's go down the line. This is probably
a better question for you guys to answer than me because you guys have been doing this a lot longer and you're more experienced. I can answer the question about what it's like going to school and
and what it's like to prep for one show.
How I'm excited for my summer break and
all right. Okay, so Mike, go ahead. What do you think?
So first of all, I think there's several things that need to be an ingredient in this equation to succeed as a great pro bodybuilder. And I'm not claiming I'm a great pro bodybuilder, but I do try my best, and I've done okay so far. So I think my 2 cents are valid, I guess. So first of all, eating. Second of all, training and your sleep and proper supplements. Now, I want to get more in depth because training is important to not ego lift. And you have to remember, we're bodybuilders. The idea is to put as much blood in the muscle and, yes, tear the muscle fibers down and basically keep going back in. You're going home, eating, sleeping, come back the next day, and so on and so forth. But you want to avoid injury, so you need to have a risk versus reward where you get down to a certain point where you're lifting a certain weight, which is heavy, but you're not getting as high rep range. And the lower you go in reps, the higher the injury, the likelihood that you're going to get injured is. So knowing as a bodybuilder when to push, when not to push, and that comes with experience based on post-show, off-season, riding into a show. So I'd say, yeah, sorry, definitely.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely the training aspect, but understanding your body, which just takes time. You're not just going to go to the gym for a year and be like, oh, I'm going to be a great pro bodybuilder. It's the trials and errors that you learn over the years, and not just killing yourself with all the drugs. And, you know, I mean, it's great to be extreme, and I find it's hard for a lot of people, including myself, to find that balance because you're trying to be the best. So it's hard to tell yourself when to take your foot off the gas. So again, that comes with like, okay, well, last time I did this, I felt like this. So, you know, is this a common feeling, or maybe it's something I'm taking, or, you know, you just got to, it's just experience, man. But again, the 3 compounds for sure, eat, sleep, train, and try to be as consistent as you can. And don't let obstacles in life pull you down to miss meals. It's going to happen. It's part of life. But again, the more you stay on track, the more disciplined you are behind closed doors, the brighter you will shine under the light.
Just to speak back on Johnny Sharif, that was just your last point there. That was the one good quote that I never forget that he told me is don't let your emotions and what's going on in your personal life get in the way of your meals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've all been through our own struggles one way or another, and at the end of the day, I think it's whoever has the least bad days is going to be the best, and I think that's really key because we all have bad days, but it's whoever, you know, can really get through those days.
Yeah.
Yo, my dog's a savage, eh? My dog's a savage. Yo.
But he's got a good point, man. It's the ability to just, you know, I don't want to
we're not gonna get too much into that today.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll save it for another podcast.
So from my perspective, to be a great bodybuilder, without including everything that you've touched on, what of course the great legendary Jay Cutler said, the legendary greatest of all time Dexter Jackson told you, those are key informations. I'm gonna add to that balance, life balance, all right? Because I've seen a lot of guys with great potential fall from getting back to the stage because they can't manage work and bodybuilding, or relationships and bodybuilding. If you can learn to balance your personal life and bodybuilding, then you will be able to achieve the longevity that you need to be a bodybuilder. Because at the end of the day, that's what it takes. It's longevity. I've seen even like I don't want to disrespect anyone. I've seen some older guys who've been competing a long time eventually get their pro cards as masters.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So bodybuilding, just like anything else, it comes down to who doesn't quit. It comes down to who gets back on stage, you know, because every one of us is going to always feel like, I need to do this to get back on stage. I need more size to get back on stage. I need better conditioning to get back on stage. No, you need to get on stage to get back on stage.
That's
is
right.
what you need to do.
I think if anybody can speak on that, it's you, like having a full-time job, having kids, and, you know, like
that's a big
shit. Like having the time to train and eat all your meals. I mean, minus the naps, of course, but that's
we don't get all these midday naps, right? So,
no, like I said, if any, like
naps are life.
That's one thing I admire. That's one thing I admire about you is that, like, you know, you have that, and like, you know, sometimes when I feel like I don't, you know, that's why I have you as a coach too. Sometimes I feel lazy or whatever. It's like, fuck, man. Like, you have kids, you have a full-time job. Like, I need to get up off my ass and get to the gym or get my meals in, you know.
That's what I love about social media, man. That's how me and Regan got so close too, because like anytime like I felt like I needed to work harder, I would just take a quick look at this guy's IG, because this guy doesn't stop fucking working. He's always doing something, grinding hard. And that was back in the day before I actually gave it my all to pursue my pro card, because I really feel like my first few shows as an amateur, I didn't really have the going pro thought in mind. I just liked competing. I wanted to compete, and didn't really realize that there was things that I had to perfect in order to win. Like for me, my posing has always been horrible. My physique has always been great, and that's displayed. I've never not been in the first call out ever. And then not to say that in like any kind of arrogant way, but it's just like genetics, shape, small waist. I check those boxes, and then once I get on stage, I fuck it up, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question, Jay. I've asked you a question, and I know a lot of people who watch your stories are thinking this, so I'm going to ask you because it's an elephant in the room, in my room, because I want to ask you too.
All right.
How in the fuck do you get ready for a show eating McDonald's every day?
I don't, man. Yo,
Almost every day.
I don't.
Mike, you have no idea how many questions I get on my page about him posting that shit.
Yo, Jose.
Like, how does Jay get ready?
We're not supposed to talk about this stuff, man. Jose probably go watch this shit.
Dude, I'm sure he'll be impressed because you managed to still stay lean.
No, we have an agreement. We have an agreement, because even when I hired him, he was like, "Well, what do you need?" And I was like, "I just need you to tell me when I'm fat, right?" Yo. And he was like, "All right, cool." So like when I check in, he'll just tell me like, cool off or keep it there, or keep pushing or back off. A lot of people can't work like that, but me, I'm the metabolic mechanic. I don't really need help to tell me what to eat. I just need you to tell me when to stop eating. But so like right now, I'm striking distance away from a show. Like if I change
8 weeks,
easy, even less. I could do 6. Because the thing is, with my metabolism right now, I'm supposed to be eating like 100 grams of carbs per meal. I can diet easily on 25 grams of carbs per meal, or 100 grams of carbs, 50 grams of carb pre-workout, 50 grams of carbs post-workout, and I'm fine. Like I'm a robot like that. It's easier for me to not eat than it is for me to eat. So like, so like me right now, I'm just in striking distance. If I don't eat that 100 grams per meal or get enough calories in to hold it, I just start melting away, man. I just start.
Yeah, I'm the opposite.
Yeah, you look at my plate and you gain weight. I eat my plate and I lose weight.
Yeah, I'm the opposite.
But that's what genetics plays.
I've never had problems gaining weight. Never putting on size. I've never had issues, but I have the opposite effect.
Yeah,
I don't have to eat that much to gain size.
All right, let's get into another question.
Yeah.
All right, I see another one from a couple of stuff that we know, a couple of people that we know in the CPA. So let's answer Tyler's question. Tyler runs what is it? Tips by Tay? It's Tips by Tay, right?
Yeah, Taylor.
Tips by Taylor. So there's a plug for you, brother. All right, we appreciate you and all the work you're doing out here in the CPA and working out these muscles. All right, that's what people need. All right, so Taylor's asking, what got you guys into bodybuilding? What got you into bodybuilding, Mike? You have one of the best fucking transformation pictures in the IFBB. I don't give a shit what anybody says, and I don't care if you take that as an insult.
No, dude, not at all, man. And it's funny because when I first started, like what kind of got me into bodybuilding was, and this is the truth, a lot of people ask me, and I just say I kind of keep it generalized. I went from a negative to a positive lifestyle, and that's so vague. That can mean anything. Eating bad to eating clean, right?
Yeah.
But no, man. I mean, growing up, like I feel like when my parents got divorced, I started dabbling into drugs when I was probably in grade 7, which picked up worse in high school.
Are you serious? I didn't know that shit.
Yeah, man. Wow. I started smoking weed when I was in grade 7.
That ain't drugs, nigga. Shit.
No. Right. Well, anyway, it's like I started with that at that point, and then and I don't have to really get into detail. You can put 2 and 2 together. Things escalated in high school, and I was hanging around idiots, man. And my road was basically a dead end road. It was either, I don't know, me being dead or jail or some shit that was not gonna allow me to live a fulfilled life. So, shit happened, and I ended up at my dad's house in Niagara. And I had nothing. My dad's he was very old school Italian, you know, so I couldn't, he found out, like, I got kicked out of college and all this shit happened. So, which a lot of people don't know, it was like a boot camp, man. Everything was just fucking so strict. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't talk on the phone. I couldn't go out. So all I had was a picture. I'll never forget. It was a picture of the game, and it was the documentary CD.
Yeah.
And I had it on my
the one where he's leaning on the car and he's got the rims. Yeah.
Yeah, he was leaning on the tire, and I was like, man, this guy's jacked. Like,
and all the rims are on the ground, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
yeah. So, and that's what inspired me. And I just started doing push-ups, you know, on the floor, and then I do, like, you know, my feet on the bed and hands on the floor, and I do push-ups. And then, you know, when I went back to my mom's house, like, you know, however long, 4 or 5, 6 months later, I wasn't allowed out, and I was kind of on like a probation. If my mom knew I was fucking around, I was out of the house. So the best thing to distract me was training.
Yeah.
I got a gym membership. I started, and then people would call me, what are you doing? I'm like, I got to train. What are you doing later? I got to cook. I got to be in bed early. I got to, you know, and it just.
I want to spend time with you.
I have to go home and eat my 5th meal.
What do you mean by that? If you are hungry, we can go and eat Burger King.
No, I do not eat Burger King.
Why not?
The meals contain too much fat. I have to go home and eat my chicken.
Allowed me to
Became
just
a habit,
focus.
became a lifestyle.
Yeah, man. And I got bit with the iron bug, and that was at like 19, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow, 19. That's
All right,
crazy.
Branden,
yeah.
You go next. I'm just gonna hit mute because my kids are coming in, but I'm still here.
Okay, so for me, how I got into it is I grew up a really overweight kid. I was like 240 pounds. I'm like 5'6", 5'7". So I was a really overweight kid. I used to get picked on in school when I was younger, and I just didn't like. I wasn't happy with the way I looked, so I wanted to change that. So I actually started by running, and then I would run, and then I lost all the weight. I lost like almost like 80 or 90 pounds just from running.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I lost like 80 or 90 pounds just from doing the running. And then from there, I was like, okay, like I'm like really skinny now, and I don't want to feel like a little bitch, so I want to start working out.
You were a fatty.
I was, right? And then I went from being fat to being really skinny. And then from there, I was like, okay, I got to change this. So I started lifting. I got myself a gym membership. I was 19, so I've only really been training for 4 years now, like actually in the gym. So
holy,
yeah. So I'm
rookie.
I'm a little rookie. Yeah, but so started lifting, and then pretty much like within a year, I saw my body pretty much transform. I gained like 20 pounds in a year. But I like it looked like a lot of weight that I gained. I put on a lot of muscle in the first year, and then from there I just kind of fell in love with it. And
you don't have any loose skin though.
No, I know I don't. I actually have some on my face. Like I don't know.
Genetics.
See that? Like,
good skin genetics.
Man, that's too many cheeseburgers. That's all that is.
No, it's skin. Like, but get the fuck out of here. No, but yeah, no, I fell in love with it, and then just like you know, became a habit. You know, friends would ask me to go out. I'm like, no, I got to eat. I got to train, and I kind of distanced the people that I was surrounding myself with at the time. And then kind of got into like made more friends that, you know, train and stuff like that, kind of like you guys, and ever since then it's been going strong, right? So, and then hopefully getting my pro card soon.
Yeah, well, not even that's what we're working on, right? And we're just talking about it eventually. So as long as we keep pushing, you see Jaden said he's doing North Americans.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, he said that a while ago. Yeah, I'm excited for him.
I think that's a good show to pick because they give that like NPC they recognize like a different look. I always feel like CPA judges they
where is that again?
There's no consistency across the board, man.
That's in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, but like if Steve's the head judge, I think he'll do really well because he's got really good like upper body size. But they always tell him he's too big in CPA. I don't know. But anyway, so how I got into bodybuilding, I guess, what do we call bodybuilding? Should I Kai Green it? Like, what is bodybuilding? No.
When did you get into weightlifting? That's probably
okay. So like grade 10 gym class, is that when they start weight training? That was when the first time I ever touched a weight, and it felt good. So we did it some more. And then my brother, when he was older, he had like a bench in the garage. My brother was like real like hood. So like all his boys would be like outside the garage with like their shirts off. They'd be like listening to like rap music and doing like bench press and shit. So I would be like 8 just like watching them, right? Like, and none of them were bodybuilders. Like they didn't take care of nutrition or anything like that. They just, I don't know, it was like jail workouts, right?
Yeah.
But growing up, I grew up in Taekwondo. So my dad was a Taekwondo instructor like his whole life. So we used to have a dojo, and the dojo was in a gym. So he would teach in the little training room in the gym. And then after our Taekwondo workout, he would work out with his boys, and I would have to like wait till they were done their workout. So he would tell me that I could do like leg extensions. It was the only exercise that he would let me do. So from the age of like 12 to 14, I did like so many leg extensions after all my Taekwondo training.
Yeah.
And I just watched them like go beast. Like I watched my dad do like 405 on decline bench when I was like 14. And I remember seeing that and I was like, wow, I'm never fucking with this guy ever, man. This guy's a beast. But he was a monster in the dojo too. Right? He was a world champion, Canadian champion. Jamaican champion. He got disqualified in Canadian nationals or Canadian Olympic nationals. I don't remember what it was called back then. It was ITF championships. But anyways, so I stopped working out pretty much from high school until I got my first year of college. Started working out here and there just because a couple of other guys in my dorm would work out. They would do like chest and arms like twice a week, and that's all we trained. So we trained chest and we trained arms, and it was like a Jersey Shore thing. We would just like train chest and arms and then drink beer and eat McDonald's. It wasn't like anything serious. Yeah. I actually didn't start seriously taking nutrition into account until I started getting fat. After we had my oldest son in 2008, by the time 2010 rolled around, I started getting fat. And it was the first time in my life I had ever like kind of got chubby. I was like, well, actually, no, I've been chubby before that, but not like chubby to the point where I didn't know why and I couldn't control it. So I started working out again, started doing Taekwondo again. I did P90X. I got super shredded. I was like 185 pounds, like soaking wet. And then I didn't like that. I wanted to put on some size, and then signed up to a gym, trying to fast track through this. Signed up to a gym, started watching Twin Muscle Workout on YouTube. I don't know if you guys do.
Is that the Hodge twins?
Yeah. Do whatever you want to do, right? Yeah. Started watching them.
That's where I started watching.
Yeah.
They were one of the first people that I started watching.
I started watching them. They did a special where they shouted out Chris Jones, and then I started watching Chris Jones. From Chris Jones, I started getting into real bodybuilding, and I read Chris Aceto's book. And Chris Aceto's book really changed, like, blew my mind. That's when I really started taking account to understand, like, macros, the difference between macros and meal plans. Because Chris Aceto's book really kind of laid out macros in, like, a meal plan format.
Yeah.
Like, I got into nutrition, to be honest. I got into nutrition before I got into bodybuilding. My interest was totally in nutrition because I wanted to learn how to manipulate the food and change the body. And essentially that turned into bodybuilding. By the time I got into shape, I was just a regular at the gym because it was just part of my nutrition. And people started elbowing me like, you should do a show. And I was natty at the time, right? But I knew I didn't want to go.
I thought you were still natty.
A little bit. Sometimes of the year.
You're not natty anymore?
Yeah. But I knew if I wanted to pursue it, I was going to go like full out. So I started getting ready for my first show, and that was like my first real off season. So 2014 to 2015, when I did my first show, is probably my first year of bodybuilding. And then from 2016 to 2017, I took off. We had my second son. And then 2018, I did provincials and got spanked. I was 6th by the end of it. In 2019,
Jay,
2019, I won pro card. Yeah.
It's not give us your whole life.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to get to it. All
Well,
right.
we're good. I mean, I think that venture is dope, and it's really cool how you transferred from karate into bodybuilding, but now you're teaching your kids karate and you're bodybuilding, and maybe they'll pick up bodybuilding. Who knows?
Yeah, because especially now when we have like a gym in the basement and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm sharing the wrong screen. Hold on. We're gonna get
to the next
more
question.
questions.
Yeah, let's see about the next question. Is there another one?
Yeah,
So
we
there's
got more. There's
lots.
tons more. The screen sharing thing's tripping out though. Hold on. I guess I could just read the next question. Worst things you've done to kill cravings on prep, Mike? Go.
The worst things, I smell food like a food fiend. If I'm at family, if I'm at family get-togethers, I feel like if I could just smell the food and I just close my eyes and I remember the time I did have it, I kind of live through that. Or watching people eat, I live vicariously through them.
Yo, I do the same.
I know it sounds weird, but that's as bad as it gets. I never cheat. I'd rather die than cheat during a prep.
What about you, Branden?
What was the question? Like, how do you not like? Sorry.
Things that you've done worst things that you've done on prep to kill cravings.
Oh, definitely. Like watching eating videos on the internet. Like I'll just sit down. Like
That doesn't make you hungry?
No, you know what? It's so weird because when I watch these videos, it makes
Dude,
me
I hate
think
people
that,
like you.
It makes me think that I'm eating the food. So like I'll watch these guys do like these 20,000 calorie challenges. Like I'll watch like this guy Eric the Electric. He'll do like these eating challenges. I'll watch Matt Stoney. I don't know if you guys know who Matt Stoney is, but he's like the hot dog eating champion, and he'll do like challenges where he'll eat like 4 boxes of cereal, or he'll do like 25 Big Macs in under 10 minutes.
That's insane.
Or he'll do like shit like that. And I'll watch that, and like part of me is like kind of disgusted. Part of me is also like, I feel like I'm eating the food right now. So it's like, it maybe plays a trick on my brain, but it works for me. So
dude, whatever works without you actually cheating.
I'll ride with it. Something
that really helps me is I usually have ice with BCAAs and really cold water.
Like a slushie.
And, yeah, it's like a slushie. Yeah, it helps kill sugar cravings, and I've been doing that for.
If you blend it in the blender, it's like a snow cone.
Slushy,
like,
for sure.
You get the icy rocket or whatever fucking BCAAs, the ice rocket one, and you put it in the blender with ice. You blend it up, and it comes out like a snow cone.
A slushy. I find really cold water also helps kill my appetite. Like if I drink freezing water or a really cold drink.
Coffee too.
Coffee. Oh, well, warm, cold coffee. Yeah.
One thing that I do is I hoard stuff. Like if there's like a treat or something that I want, I'll put it in the freezer. Or like if I'm somewhere and someone
you're gonna need another freezer.
Yeah, no, I don't need that much. But like if I'm somewhere and like they're eating like cake or something, like, oh, everybody's having birthday cake, I'll take it and I'll wrap it up and I'll take it home and I'll put it in my freezer. And in my mind, it's like, okay, I have it.
But you know that it's there.
Yeah, and then by the time I'm done the show, I don't even want it. I end up throwing it.
It's like out of sight, out of mind, though. Like that's the thing for me is like out of sight. Like if I don't surround myself with any fucking bad food, I'm not gonna eat it, right? So I feel like out of sight, out of mind. If it's not around, then get rid of it.
All right, let's ask another question. We got a question from Jade Fitness.
It's my girl.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. What is going on with Mike, specifically more your health? Which is what it was a question that I want to know too. So
yeah, okay.
How's your ham?
Well, the ham's not an issue. The ham I tore like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, and I stayed home for 10 days, and I was back in the gym. So luckily, it tore in the belly. So it was minor. I mean, it hurt, but that's not really the problem. The problem is, first of all, my distal tricep tendon on the right side, same side as my shoulder, I need operated on. We tried filling with PRP, but it's a 2 centimeter hole, and it's just not sticking because the hole's too big. So we got to do surgery, and I've been waiting on that since before this bullshit pandemic, and I'm still waiting because the pandemic. So whenever the government gives the go-ahead for elective surgeries, hopefully I'll be in there, but I'm still going to the gym. And I had an incident, which I never made public, but I kind of want to do now. I feel if I could save somebody's life by telling them this, or just make them think that it'll, because if I ever hear that someone passed from this and I didn't say anything, I would really, really, really feel like shit. I ordered a CJC peptide, and guys, a lot of the peptides aren't like,
I've been telling people
accurate.
their shit.
It's really dangerous. A lot of them are just cheap Chinese powders. And anyways, it was on my protocol. I did it. You know, it's supposed to have great benefits. It's cheap. I'm like, fuck it, why not? But I did a shot on my chest, and within 2 minutes, I felt my heart it felt like it was gonna explode. I turned red, and I started being dizzy. And I texted my boy Hyder, because he's like this guy is a smart dude. He knows a lot about peptides. And I said, man, something's wrong. And he's like, what do you mean? And I showed him a picture in the mirror, and my face and everything was completely red. My tongue swole up. I felt like I was dehydrating, but I'm like, I don't know if this is a low blood sugar thing or what happened, because it's a feeling I've never gotten before. So I went outside. I tried to cool down. I was like butt naked. It was in like, you know, end of January, beginning of February.
Fuck.
And I couldn't get rid of it. So I came downstairs. I tried taking a warm shower, and I ended up fainting and hitting my head. And I went into I forget the word, anaphylactic shock. And I almost died. And Hyder, thank God, he called my mom, I think, and my mom called the paramedics. And they,
because he wasn't hearing from you?
Yeah, he goes, dude, I looked at the text later, and I had all these messages, and he goes, this isn't funny. If you don't answer, I'm going to call the paramedics.
Wow.
The ambulance. And he
Thank
did.
God, man.
Thank God he did.
Dude, that's crazy, man. You might not be here if it wasn't for
dude. And I'll never forget, before I fainted in my head, it was like, they say before you die, you see like life flashes. And that's exactly what happened. I literally felt all my organs, just everything shut down. And it was like my brain was the last thing to work. And I just remember seeing pictures of, all I remember on top of my head is seeing my girlfriend and some stuff, which I don't remember, because it's like everything happens. It's like in 1 second, you got 50 flashes. And then I hit my head over there, and I landed on the floor. I was out. And then the fucking paramedics bust down the door upstairs, and Hyder came down. And I was butt naked. And then they're like, you should put clothes on. And I kind of woke up out of consciousness when they came, because it was like a hustle and bustle and the fucking running down the stairs. And honestly, I thought it was like cops was coming. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Like, I just, you know, you're in a panic already.
That's crazy, man.
Your body's in a state of panic. So they tested my heart, and then, you know, they suggested I go to the hospital. So I got a meal, obviously, ready. And then
of course you did.
We had to go to and I'm like, I don't know how long I'm going to be there. And you can't really, like, at the hospital, there's a vending machine. There's nothing to eat.
Yeah.
So I had my meal on the way there. I couldn't even eat. And I went, and there was a lot of different speculations what happened. But basically, it was an anaphylactic shock. They gave me EpiPen. It shot me with adrenaline, and I was there. They thought I had a heart attack, which is another reason why I stayed.
What could it have been?
Either I researched the two things: the CJC itself, or the preservative or ingredient they mix in it. But I made a decision anyway. So yeah, they recommended me that I go see a cardiologist. I went to a cardiologist, and I don't know if this contributed to it, but the cardiologist said basically your heart is. It's weird. I did the ECG, perfect. Stress test on the treadmill, he goes, your heart's perfect. I went for the echocardiogram, which I recommend every bodybuilder do.
Yeah,
because I would never have known if I didn't go for the echocardiogram. I go on the doctor's office, he goes, there's a problem. It's your heart. And I'm like, my heart? I'm fucking fine. I feel amazing. You just told me my heart is perfect. He said, no, because you're fit, you would never tell. But the problem is your heart is too big, it's too muscular, and it's only beating at 20% capacity, and normal is 60%. So it's only operating at a third. So instead of a full pulse, he showed me on the screen, my heart was like this.
Yo, I didn't know this shit.
Yeah, man. So I've been on medication the last 4 months. I've been off of everything. No TRT, no nothing. I'm still training. I'm still smiling. I'm still trying to keep positive. And yeah, I have an update, another appointment with the doctor in a couple months to see how my heart's doing. He said, you know, if I didn't make it in, then I either drop dead randomly one time, or I'd be on a pacemaker for the rest of my life.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know, because I don't really tell many people, but
no.
That's crazy.
And then when we do see each other, we end up talking about like non-bodybuilding shit.
Yeah. And it's just crazy because something that almost killed me, the CJC, made me go to the, like, ended up saving my life because I went to the cardiologist. If that never happened, I could drop out of a heart attack at any time. So, and again, a lot of people watching this are going to say, oh my God, too much steroids. We don't know what my heart was like prior because I've never done an ecto.
Yeah.
Did the steroids make it worse? It's possible. I mean, I don't really know. We don't know because I never did an ecto. I get a physical once or twice every year, and people usually use ECGs to measure their heart function. And I was fine every year, but when I talked to the cardiologist, he says ECG basically shows your heart beating. It doesn't show the function of the heart or how it's working. So
lots of people aren't going to get checked. Like bump into your dad, call your dad right now and ask him if he's got ECG or like a lot of people aren't really on top of it. So they just like to jump on bodybuilders too, but we're actually more aware than
because we're the doctors often.
You don't know if that could have been a condition before, any of this and it could have made a difference. Obviously the gear probably doesn't help, but it doesn't.
For sure.
It probably was something that you were born with and over time.
I mean, it could be. We just, and that's the problem because the echocardiogram is so specific. It's a half-hour test. Then they take pictures of your heart. And at the end, it shows up on a screen and it's an exact image of your heart. I've never had that done before. So I don't know, like, the doctor said it could have been the steroids, could have been this, could have been that. But at the end of the day, you're just pointing fingers. And I'm not being ignorant. I'm not saying it had nothing to do with it. Maybe it did. Maybe the CJC, because it almost fucking killed me, had a big part of it too. But all I know is I am here and I'm functioning. I'm keeping positive. And I know a lot of you guys out there are, suffering right now because you're not training. And mental health is a huge issue right now. Especially, I feel it's very relevant given what happened with Luke.
It's crazy. They had just started talking. They had just started opening up the platform for men to speak. I was actually talking with Fouad about this, on DMs and through comments, because it's gonna happen in our generation. It definitely wasn't in our generation prior.
What are you referring to?
Men were open. An open platform for men to talk about mental health.
Yes.
Especially. So recently in the last couple episodes, not the last one, but the one before last, they had started opening up. Fouad was talking about his father passed. James was talking about his issue with the bedwetting and stuff. And it came to Luke's turn to talk and he kind of declined to speak about it. So that's that moment that everybody's talking about where, we wish he had opened up. But it takes that step. It takes that platform for us to say, it's okay for men to talk. You're not a pussy. You're not. Yeah. It's okay for you to feel off or to feel distant. Especially right now during the quarantine. So
a lot of people are vulnerable.
Yeah.
A lot of people are vulnerable, and guys, it's not okay to reach out for help. Call your friends. Call your parents. Call whoever you feel you're comfortable with. Even if you want to call anonymously to get a non-biased opinion, there's a lot of great hotlines out there that are meant to help people, especially now. A lot of people are suffering because we're fucking trapped, basically. You can't move and anxieties and, you're not socializing as normal as you would be. So
I'm fine.
Jay he's up here. So
I'm a hermit. Yeah. Eat, sleep, train. This is perfect. Sorry, I don't mean any disrespect to anybody.
No. Yeah, of course. Just bringing light to the situation, but on all seriousness, it's, especially me. I've been in social work. Well, I'm not practicing it anymore, but I was for a long time. And mental health is a huge thing. I study mental health, and
of course,
the biggest thing is people don't realize well, everything's shut down now, but you're still alive. Yeah, you're still alive. Yeah, you still have a house over your head, but you don't realize the impact it has on you when you're thrown out of your daily routine for so long. Then you're thinking a lot, and you're not just out of groove. Your mental state is in a different process.
For some people, it's just too much time by themselves.
Yes.
All right, let's get
For me, I thrive off of communication. For me, just being alone, it almost eats away at me. I like alone time. I like alone time to an extent. This I love, being able to project how I feel, how we feel, and trying to help people and reach out, and hopefully they can relate to us so it can help them in their daily activities. That's what I'm about.
Absolutely.
I think it'll make it good.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna
let's
do
move on.
one more. We're gonna do one more question. Well, okay, maybe two more questions because I see another question here and I want to see it.
Okay.
Someone that obviously knows you is asking.
Who's you, me or Branden?
Mike.
Okay.
To tell us about your first job, how you almost burnt the house down in Edmonton or something.
Oh, is it gonna be story time?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be story time here?
No, my first job, they're not really relevant, so I don't know why they asked, but like it's not, they got nothing to do with each other. My first job, I was in McDonald's. I worked in McDonald's. I was like 12. You have to be 13 to work there, and they like kind of illegally allowed me to work there because I was turning 13 that year.
Yeah.
Someone at the end of the year, so I was working. I was 12. I needed money, so obviously they let me work there, and I was there for about a year. The incident in Edmonton, it was actually my buddy Andrew. He fell asleep when he was cooking potatoes for me, which was very nice of him because I was loading off of potatoes. He fell asleep, and the fucking potatoes burned, and there was smoke coming out of the oven, and the alarm went off, and Eric, my coach at the time, flew down the stairs, like all rattled and confused, and yeah, it was fucked up. It definitely wasn't my fault, but it is what it is.
I want to hear a lot about your coach Eric. Maybe we can have him on the show one time. Your old coach.
Yeah, coach and good friend.
Yeah. All right, so let's end off with an actual question. One for each of us. What's your favorite body part to train? This is from Austin Simpson.
Okay.
Branden, you go first.
Okay, so for me, I don't really have a favorite body part to train. I think that I go in.
The question is, what favorite body part to train?
You want me to pick one? If I
gotta pick one.
If I had to pick one, like it changes. Okay, I'll say for right
now.
Pick top two.
It changes. Okay, for right now, I definitely probably say chest. I really enjoy training chest, especially the split that we've been doing right now. I just love going to the gym and hitting chest. It just feels good. And, ask me in a week or two, I might say legs. But for right now, I've just really been enjoying training chest. So I'm gonna put that as my answer.
Good for you.
All right.
What about Jay?
All right,
Jay?
for me,
he's not gonna say legs.
It's a love-hate. It's a love-hate. Like
you gotta pick
legs,
one, bro.
Yeah. No, well, it's a love-hate with one of them.
It's legs,
leg day for sure.
For sure.
I don't know what it is, but
when you say you have to specify. When you say legs, you mean quads, hams, or both?
All.
Okay,
everything.
All of legs.
Because when it's just something about leg day, when I wake up in the morning and I know I'm training legs, it's in my mind early in the day.
Okay.
Like preparation.
Early in the week for me.
Yeah, really. If I knew, okay, I'm training legs next week with Mike, I would start thinking about it tomorrow. I'd be like,
when you wake up, it's a different feeling when you're training legs than if you're training chest.
Yeah.
I'm training legs today actually, and I'm like fucking. It's been on my mind from 2 days ago.
Yeah. So like once it's
a
done,
different feeling.
I love it, right? But before it happens, it gives me the most anxiety. But
I know
for legs, I'm gonna have to go with legs.
Yeah.
For me, I'd have to go with a body part which I feel is the weakest because when I pump it up, I look and feel more complete, which is definitely not my legs. It'd be my chest or my arms. Because my chest goes flat to fullest, so I find if I train chest Monday, arms Tuesday, by Tuesday night I'm looking like Mr. Olympia. By Wednesday morning I'm looking like an amateur athlete again. So when those are pumped, it completes the physique because the legs have always been big and full. And I used to, like my old posing coach Damien used to make fun of me saying it looks like there's two bodies that were just in a like a collage or whatever, like the Photoshop.
Yeah.
He's like,
that's how I feel. That's how
he's like, your legs are huge, your upper body looks like Michael Phelps.
That's exactly.
Phelps.
Yeah. It was harsh, but it's funny because it was kind of true. So I had to put a lot of emphasis on my upper body. But
dude, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anything you guys want to leave everyone off with? Our first week.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. I know the first video. We're kind of just jumping in and trying to get as much information. But once we got the episodes rolling, everything's going to be nice and tight. And we're going to have certain topics we'll be covering. But we kind of just wanted to introduce ourselves to you guys and so you guys can see what we're about and our backgrounds and, things we like to do. So, yeah, thanks for following us. And make sure you just subscribe to Jay's channel.
Anyone you want to shout out? Any of your sponsors?
Yeah, man. Of course. Much love for BioX, Jed North, my girlfriend, my family, my friends, and God. I'm a religious guy.
My guy. What
Love
about
it.
you, B?
So I'm really excited for this, man. You know, it's gonna provide people with a different dynamic, especially in the GTA, because there's not really a podcast going right now that, you know, we have all three, you know, different people at different points in their careers, and I think it's gonna provide people with something different, and you know, hopefully you guys can take something from it and learn from it. And you know, this is a lot of fun for us. We'd be doing this shit without the cameras, so it's a lot of fun for us, and I'm really looking forward to what the future has in store, and I hope you guys enjoy, you know, what we have to offer. And then Jay, I'll let you close it out.
I'll be honest, I'm here for the gossip. Yeah. I want to hear about the girlfriends. I want to hear about the cheating girlfriends. I want to hear about the ex-girlfriends. I want to hear about the crazy girlfriends. So I hope you guys tune in. Yeah, I hope you guys tune in next week, because
Episode 2
the intros will be over.
yeah.
Once the intros are over, I want to get to the business.
Yeah. Oh shit.
But honestly, guys, thank you guys for watching and tuning in. Make sure you guys check out all of our pages and just follow us along. We'll be here next week. So anything that you want us to see us to talk about, or to see us bring up or discuss, a show or someone's physique you want us to critique, anything you want, just put it all in the comments, and like Mike said, man, subscribe, all right? So God bless you guys, and
much
thanks for
love.
shooting the shit. Let's go. Cheers.
Yeah, buddy.